All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the April 20th Agent Sandbox meeting. Today, we have a few announcements and a few discussion topics. The first one is about, we had a 0.3.10 release, and it introduced a breaking change for the wormhole now creates a sandbox directly instead of a pod. So there is a migration step documented in the release notes. And feel free to take a look and give it a try and give us feedback about that new behavior. The next announcement is about a new contribution guide we just published, updated, and let me share this tab. So basically, we now want to maintain a higher velocity. We try to do more grooming of the PRs, and we also introduced a bot to auto close and auto marking the PRs to be stale after 30 days and auto close after 15 more days. And then we're also introducing the AI assisted code reviews. This is still experimental. We might try different tools for now. And we are adding Copilot to newer PRs for the first pass code reviews. And we also welcome your feedback on the quality and the helpfulness of those AI reviews. And then we're also going to introduce the workflow that human reviewers is going to look at the PR after the AI take a first pass and be mindful that AI cannot approve. So all the PR that's merged is going to be still human approved. And then the contributing MD doc has more details. And then there's also a new rule that we need all the PRs to have authors sign the CLA, the contributor license agreement. So all the PRs without CLA signed will not be reviewed. And then there's a gotcha that the Copilot might provide some code suggestions, but do not click on the commit suggestion button because that will make Copilot a co-author, but Copilot doesn't have CLA signed, so that could cause some problems. And that's the announcement. Then we are moving on to the discussion topics. The first one, I think we have someone talk about this one.
Yes. Can you hear me?
To present? Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So yeah, hello everyone. So I'm Emanuele. I'm from Red Hat. I'm a software engineer at Red Hat, and as my manager, also a couple of meetings ago announced, we so proposed we would like to move the Agent Sandbox as an operator on Kubernetes. So that's why I opened this pull request a bit ago. And yeah, I wanted to bring it also to this meeting to discuss if somebody has feedbacks. And I realized it became a little bit huge of a pull request. So I also wrote into the comment, maybe I should split it in smaller steps. But the main issue is that, yes, this pull request, I mean, it was supposed to be easy, but in the end, it wasn't because in order to create an operator, you need to have a certain folder structure for operator SDK. And so the first step, like disruptive, not disruptive, but complex step is that all the CRDs, for example, a lot of files are in the Kubernetes folder, K8s, and we should move it. What the initial commits in my pull request does is moving them into config slash CRDs, something else that the operator SDK needs. So that is already something that might break other stuff. So that's one first. Maybe I should create already one PR only for that. And then there is also the discussion on the CRDs, what to ship by default, what to do with the extensions, because by default the control, like just to summarize, if you deploy this controller, as you already know, in the Kubernetes, it works by itself. Like the release you have, it works already. Like it's an operator. And 99% of the job is done. It's not that I need to do any new feature. We need to just create this bundle created by operator SDK and publish it, and it's done. But in order to do this bundle, we need to have this structure. So that's one thing. And the other thing is the CRDs with the extensions. It's also a design choice to decide whether to ship by default these extensions. I think by standard practice, and again, if somebody has feedbacks, feel free to tell me. We an operator should ship all the CRDs available, and then we have either another CRD that enables the feature, or simply a config map. I think config map is simpler, but it's not really standard. Like we ship a default config map that says extension on, or we can ship the Sandbox CRD together with another operator config when yes, the controller can reconcile to also include these other CRDs. But yeah, that's if somebody has more experience or comments, feel free to ask. And yeah, and then the operator image, I think you already ship a release into the Kubernetes SIG repo, so I think should still use that for the operator. But that's I think that comes later. But these are my 3 points.
So, so my understanding of the operator is that it can help handle the upgrades. If there are breaking change or migration steps needed, does it handle that as well? And how do we add that migration?
Migration, what do you mean exactly with migration?
Oh, so for example, on previously we introduced a change of changing the controller from a stateful set to a deployment, that kind of change. Or maybe in this newer release, we're changing the wormhole behavior, and um, that
I
caused
think
some changes to the existing pods.
I can document myself. I can ask. Also, for me, it's also my first operator, so I don't really have a lot of experience with this. But I think every release, if any new release we introduce breaking changes, I think it could be fine. I mean, it's if we document it, and just as now, like if you install as it is and then you upgrade it with the new release, is still a breaking change, right? I mean, I don't know what in an operator is just that if you add automatically upgrades, then it will upgrade by itself, but it will still break, I guess. So I don't think it changes much. I mean, in the end, if it's a breaking change, it breaks something.
So what's the difference between the current behavior versus using the operator? And maybe Justin has a similar question.
No, I don't think there is a difference in behavior. Like as I said, I think this is just a bundle. This is just about publishing. Like this works already in Kubernetes. So it just I think having in the operators marketplace, so it's easier for users to install it and try it. And I think that's it.
I see. Justin?
Um, so thank you for doing this. I think I was originally responsible or to blame for that Kate's folder, which is, I think, a little non-standard. So I'm very much in favor of moving to something more standard. Like, yes, we're moving a lot of files around, but mostly they're like things we did in a kind of, things I did in a kind of wonky way. So let's do that better. Great. My one nitpick, and I think it's comparatively small, but is about the duplication of some of those CRDs, some of the YAML files. So it's duplicated in like bundle manifests and config CRD. And I'm just trying to understand, like, why do we need both, and do we need both, and how do we keep them in sync type thing? Like,
But I think the bundle is just like a generated file from the operator SDK. So every release, as far as I understood, but I can also ask my other colleagues, because my team, we maintain the Sandbox operator, like the Kata and the Trusty. So there is people with a bit of experience. I can try to ask, but as far as I understood, the bundle is just an output of what's generated. So the main development still stays into the config. And then once every release, somebody does make bundle, and that's it. So I don't think it should be touched. And also, I'm pretty sure every operator has that, as well as the same that was pointed into the in the pull request. If you do make bundle, it will change stuff into the like the Git status will show that some files are modified, and there isn't really. I think it's pretty standard. That is not really nice, because we will have a file automatically modified, but I think as far as I try to ask around it, that's the standard default. So yeah, the bundle is just something that after we have it, I think I need to open a pull request in another repo for the operator marketplace, just copy that whole folder in there, and that's it. Like it will appear on operator in the marketplace, Kubernetes marketplace. And every release we do the same, and that's it.
It's not the end of the world. I think it would be confusing if bundle manifests wasn't the same version as the rest of the code. In other words, if we're checking in something and I know this because we've done this in a different project, which I'm involved in, it is confusing. Like if bundle manifests installs a version, if I check out version, like a particular SHA, and I apply bundle manifests and I get a different version than that one I checked out, that's kind of weird. So I think we should keep bundle manifests continuously updated.
Yeah, I think in what I do by default, I don't remember anymore, but I think by default make bundle calls automatically make like the automatic commands to create to check the new CRD, generates the new roles. So yeah, that's of course it's a good idea to, when make bundle runs, you should generate everything, like you take the config and start from there.
Okay, maybe it's not as long as we can agree that like bundle manifest should be the same version as I check out type thing. And of course, I would normally check out a tagged version, and then I would expect to get that version, right? Then yes, when I make a change to like Sandbox claim, it will appear in 2 YAML files. The identical change will appear in 2 YAML files, and we can kind of live with that and see if we can do better in some way. But I don't think it should be a blocker, as long as we can agree the sort of workflow.
Okay, I understand what you mean. I understand. So basically, every time you add even a single line to a CRD inside config, it should be reflected in a bundle.
I think so, because otherwise bundle manifest will be a different version. Like
yeah. I mean, I don't know how to enforce it.
we would just the same way. I think we'll have a generator script or target. It will generate config CRD bases using go generate or controller gen, whatever it's called. And then I think we add that will run in GitHub Actions or Prow, and it will look for a Git diff. And then we should do the same thing and create bundle manifests in the same way, would be my argument. And so no one's going to forget to, or if you forget to update it for somehow, then the CI will pick it up.
Okay. So yeah, so I think if it's okay for you, in the next few days I will try to split these pull requests, because I think right now it's huge, and to try to start with getting rid of K8s, not to getting rid, at least start with at least the application, but and then go step by step. Or if you want, you can look directly there.
I think it's up to Janet. I'm okay with it in its size, but I don't know, Janet, how you feel.
We can discuss in the PR.
Okay. Yeah, no, because there is also the another issue is the kind I don't know, it's called the script that you have that looks inside folder, and depending on the file name or something, it does something stuff, and if you change the folder structure, it gets confused. So that is chunk of work by itself. That's why, like, doing in one PR where you remove KS and you get config will destroy a lot of stuff.
Got it, makes sense.
But yeah, let me know in the PR. I'm happy to discuss with you. Thank you.
Aditya?
The different versions of the YAML that exist or will exist when you make changes to the different CRDs. Is that auto updated, or do we have to kind of go down to each of these files and make changes?
No, if you do make bundle, it's automatic.
Okay, cool, thanks.
It just, but if was said it will be implemented as a job, GitHub action also will make sure of that. But you just need to remember make bundle, or the job will do it for you. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. And Jonathan.
Yeah, hi. So yeah, we've started to explore using Agent Sandbox we've been hand rolling our own controller at Lovable for a while, and we're ending up abusing Kubernetes so much that we end up actually like breaking replica set controller and a bunch of stuff at like high throughput. High throughput being, I don't know, I guess like in the 5 or 6 digit amount of pods and like hundreds per second in a single cluster. This is not very normal use case, so I just want to, like, if there's things you are aware of, because we in Agent Sandbox you use replica set controller and this kind of stuff. So if there's ways for us to validate for that use case without, I mean, we could also spend, it's quite a lot of money doing these tests, unfortunately, because you can have to run it for quite a bit at that level. So if people have ideas to how to optimize the control we have now for these, well, high churn and high parallelization or concurrency, that would be great to hear, and then I can provide PRs upstream for that.
Yeah, so we are introducing a bunch of improvements, and we're also planning to add a benchmarking, hoping to show the results in a public space. Aditya?
Exactly that. So, Jonathan, we can share some of the testing results that we've already done so that you don't have to spend the same money doing the same result. And plus one to what Janet said is we will be publishing these numbers, adding more benchmarks, so like different PRs can, you can see how they're doing with respect to performance.
Yeah, I'm happy to provide. I know Justin and Jennifer spoke before, like a CI, but more of a benchmark style thing upstream. Yep. So you have the use case we have, which is essentially just running npm install and then just tracking how long that took. I mean, essentially.
Jonathan, do you, just so that we're tracking this, do you mind creating an issue?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. So we have a few discussion topic about some of the features when we groom the backlog. The first one is about the pause and soft pause feature. Soft pause is that we don't delete the pods or the sandbox. We just use IPPU to the in-place pod update to make the pod smaller. It's still running, but it's not consuming as much resource. And then the pausing feature currently just delete the pods, and then we want to introduce more sophisticated features such as being able to restore from the previous state. I think this feature request has more details, but I want to hear how maybe users or other people in the community to share the need of this kind of features. Is soft pausing needed, and what kind of pause feature are folks needing? I think we have some details here. Any ideas? Pretty.
So we already, yeah, we can already restore, right, via the pod snapshots. All we need to do is just add a pod name annotation to the Sandbox CR. That's for the restoration logic, and for the pause and resume, I think we have done the work to delete and create a pod. How is this PR different from that? I'm just curious.
This is not a PR, it's a feature request.
Again, this is about adding the pause and resume support or the feature at the CRD level or at the API level. And in that case, pod snapshots, for example, would be one implementation version of it. While there could be other providers that implement the same thing.
I mean, I have created the initial APIs. I have the design document for that, which discusses the CRD, the changes in the CRD. I can share that in the feature issue, in this feature to see.
Yeah, in the current pausing API is through modifying the replicas field, and we might want to change that.
Yes, so I wrote a design document where we were explicitly adding a Boolean flag and some other options detailed in the spec. I can share the design and we can discuss there.
Okay, sounds good. And we still have 3 more minutes. Let's discuss the next item, maybe. The next one is about the service for Sandbox. And by default, the Sandbox creates a headless service that users cannot customize yet. And there's a feature request for being able to customize that. And there's I think this is a PR for a feature request for the details of the headless service itself. I think we also have a feature request for being able to opt out of the default service. And I think Jonathan, you mentioned that feature before, right? About opting out the service.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in our case, we route directly to the pod IP, so it's just adding load unnecessarily.
Security. The still hand or?
Stale hand. Thanks.
Justin?
Is there a proposed, sorry, I wasn't able to read through them all the time. Is there a proposed API or proposed schema to allow this? because I think maybe in this meeting we should be we don't have much time in these meetings, so maybe this is where we talk about those sorts of things, right? Like the API type changes, which are going to affect everyone and are sort of designy.
Justin, for the pause soft resume or for service?
Serviceless or whatever you want to call that.
I think there was a PR about changing the service. I think we can add a field. We either add a field for people to specify their service name so that they can write the service themselves and point the sandbox to that service. So we don't need to embed the service spec into the API, or we can add a field that people can say, I want a service or not. And maybe we add a service back into the sandbox spec, but I would rather that we make it outside of the sandbox API. I mean, the service spec itself.
Should we have a discussion on one of the issues, or should we create an epic issue? How do you want to run this forward?
We can discuss this one. This one was closed because it's a little bit stale, but I think it's still relevant. And this one has a PR that was closed because it's stale, but still relevant. I think the contributor reached out to me. They said that they are willing to work on this again if we have feedback about it. Interesting. And do you want to continue discussing in this PR about the service support? Maybe this is the starting point for us.
Maybe number 30, you mean, the issue?
30. Yeah.
Because this is important, right? This is something that will increase when we get that benchmark. This will hopefully increase the benchmark. We expect it to increase the benchmark, right, quite substantially, because it will have the load on the API server type thing.
Yeah. So I think we're at time, but we can continue the discussion about the service in the issue number 30. And I saw that maybe Haiyan, you can quickly talk about your work.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Haiyan from Google. I'm currently working on the Cube agentic networking project. So literally we're trying to standardize the API, design a standard API to regulate the traffic from agent to your backend, like MCP. So I bump into the agent sandbox project. I think it'd be interesting to have some demo to put this project together. So I would like some guidance, how should I integrate them? Should I use Sandbox or Sandbox template? Or I also would like to see whether any agent Sandbox user are interested in this type of integration. This will also help drive our project's roadmap, so we can provide features really useful to the user.
Yeah, I would recommend you to start with just Sandbox because it's the basic, and then the template and the wormhole is for faster bootstrap time. If you don't need it, you probably don't need it in the initial integration anyways, unless you are doing a demo, you want to show something very fast. But before that, you can just use Sandbox for the integration.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Does anyone have anything they want to say before we close the meeting? Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone. And let's continue the discussion in the GitHub or in Slack. All right. See you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.